What's up, guys? I'm back. It's that guy Jordan again, back again with a brand new video, and we are here. This is no longer Cartoons and Chaos Podcast. Unfortunately, Cartoons and Chaos Podcast is being put on the back burner right now, and instead we're going to be focusing on my main niche, which is Star Wars. Which, without a further ado, welcome to Holocron Radio. This is not your ordinary Star Wars podcast. This isn't another Star Wars podcast. This is a place for deep lore, real debates, conversations, and literally anything far and wide about the galaxy far, far away. I decided to really get into this because the simple fact of the matter is I love Star Wars. I love Star Wars. Star Wars is one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite books. Like, I've deep dove into all things Star Wars, and we are going to be talking about Star Wars every single week. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. Let's open up the archives. Every week, we're going to be starting off our weeks with a Star Wars fact for the week. So, Star Wars fact number 1 for us this week is going to be about Mace Windu. Mace Windu once took a mission to Dantooine where he destroyed an entire army of B2 Super Battle Droids by himself. Now, for most of you that don't know, Mace Windu was a general during the Clone Wars, and I believe this took place during the Clone Wars era of probably the 2003 show. So if you guys ever watched the 2003, it's basically where he was like super sonically punching those B2 battle droids and everything. Whole squadron, whole army by himself. And let's get things straight about Mace Windu. Mace Windu is one of the most powerful Jedi of the prequel era of that time. So it doesn't really surprise me. Like, the guy got down and everything. So great Star Wars fact. Love it. It's Mace Windu. Like, what did we expect? Like, all right. Anyways, we're going to jump into our main episode, the main segment for our episode today. So, today is Holocron Radio's first episode, and it's going to be about ranking the Star Wars saga. So I decided to really just kind of jump into it type of thing, and I really wanted to deep dive and rank the trilogies. So basically what I did was I took the original, the prequel, and the sequel trilogies, and I ranked the movies by the trilogy movies only. So these are just, there's no Clone Wars, Mandalorian, Grogu, none of that right now. So I took the 3 trilogies, and then I put their best movie, their second best movie, and then their weakest movie. So basically I ranked, how that goes. So we're going to start with the original trilogy. The original trilogy is where George Lucas first introduced us to Star Wars back all the way in 1977 with the first Star Wars movie, which is Star Wars A New Hope. Luke Skywalker, Leia, Han Solo, Chewbacca, we got introduced to all of them. And this is where the lore just takes off from there. But out of the original series, let's take a look at it. The original series, the original trilogies, the best movie out of the original was Empire Strikes Back. Empire Strikes Back set a precedence for movies that are going to be trilogies or more. Basically, every movie series that comes out past Empire Strikes Back, we judge not just the first movie. The first movie basically sets us up for like, okay, what's next? But we judge it off the second movie. So, like, take for example, X-Men, Spider-Man, Blade, 3 top-tier Marvel movies that came out in 2000. We were like, wow, let's see what happens. Blade 2, X2, and then Spider-Man 2. Goated movies. Now, that's where the president of Empire Strikes Back. Empire Strikes Back is a goated secondary movie, but it's also one of the best Star Wars movies of all time. You have a lot of reveal. You got to see Luke Skywalker train with Yoda. You got to see the fight between Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. We got to see Han Solo be taken by Boba Fett. It's a lot of things in this movie. Also, we reveal that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. Let's not forget about the most memorable things. Like, and this is basically one of the first movies ever where the villain won. The Empire Strikes Back, I mean, the villains win. Like, they destroyed the base on Hoth. They chased the rebels. They got Han Solo. Like, there's just a lot of like things that just happens in this movie, and it's just like, wow, like let's really get dive into it. And I feel like George Lucas is really in his bag about this, and it was just like, yeah, this is what I want. And it really just showed just like how strong the Empire actually was, type of thing. So that's what I really love about it. Like, I really love Empire Strikes Back. You go into the second movie, and it's going to obviously be New Hope. New Hope really set the standard for sci-fi movies going forward after 1977. And a lot of like sci-fi movies that, really came after Star Wars, is the Star Wars New Hope is the standard. I love a Star Wars A New Hope because we get to see Luke Skywalker, who's been growing up, no idea who he is and his destiny to the galaxy. Leia Organa, Han Solo. We still get to see an older Ben, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, it's just a lot of, lore drops in this movie. I mean, we get to hear about the Clone Wars for the first time. And again, dropping the Clone Wars in 1977 and not making another movie until like 99 was insane work, but we love it, we respect it, whatever the case may be. But again, New Hope really set the precedent for what sci-fi really is. And I love that. Like, I love Star Wars and New Hope. And yes, like, there was a lot of stuff to work out. I mean, but without Star Wars and New Hope, there wouldn't be Star Wars. Like, Star Wars as a whole of what it is, you got to understand, like, from 1977 until now, we're in 2026. 2027 is next year. So if my math is correct here, you know what? My math has always been bad. So let's take a look here. So next year is 2027, right? So you take 1977 and 50-year anniversary next year. So it's been 50 years since Star Wars A New Hope came out. You already know they're going to be doing an anniversary special next year, all of that. And unfortunately, a lot of the actors and actresses for that movie is no longer with us. Like, we've lost, Carrie Fisher. We lost Chewbacca. I believe we lost somebody else I can't think of. But we lost James Earl Jones. Like, we've lost a lot of our Star Wars community to older age and everything. So, like, next year for May, we're going to have to turn out because they are going to be doing a Star Wars New Hope re-release in theaters and everything, and it's going to be amazing. Like, there's that. The weakest movie of the trilogy is unfortunately Return of the Jedi. Now, I won't say weakest as far as storyline goes, but just more weakest because it doesn't compare to Empire Strikes Back and New Hope. And the only reason why it just doesn't do that is only just because, like, it has its moments, and that's the cool thing about Return of the Jedi. It has its moments, and it's still rewatchable. But compared to Empire Strikes Back and New Hope, no way, no way. But I do, like I said, it has its moments. You have Luke Skywalker revealing his green lightsaber and having the same kind of like lightsaber as Obi-Wan Kenobi type of thing. Like, that was awesome. We got to see his black suit, his fiddle with the dark side a little bit, finding out Leia was his sister, the final duel, the final battle of Endor. I think a lot of people, though, gets really turned off by the Ewoks. I've been hearing, like, I hear a lot of that, like, talking to people that watch Return of the Jedi. A lot of people just didn't like the Ewoks, but it is what it is. I mean, you got to understand it was like the 80s. Like, there wasn't really anything, like, it was just George Lucas just playing around and like trying to figure out how he was going to conclude his trilogy, and that's what it was. Like, that's how it ended. But I do like the ending of Return of the Jedi, and I do like where it left off. It's just, again, it's just not going to stack up against A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. Now, if we move over to the prequels, the prequel trilogies, which is personally my favorite trilogies of the three, the prequel trilogy set a precedent because it's like, we return, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and then Revenge of the Sith. I remember Revenge of the Sith, which, by the way, is my number one for the prequel trilogy. Out of all the prequel trilogy movies, Revenge of the Sith is the best Star Wars movie of the prequel trilogy because oh my gosh, do we have to really, we have Obi-Wan versus Grievous, Obi-Wan versus Anakin Skywalker, Yoda versus Emperor Palpatine, Mace Windu trying to arrest Emperor Palpatine, Order 66. It has everything. That movie really set a standard for me about how I want my movies to conclude, whether I want to be sad, happy, hopeful, whatever the case may be. It has it all. It literally has it all. And we literally get to see the ultimate downfall of Anakin Skywalker from start to finish within the prequel trilogy and how it leads up to him becoming Darth Vader. And that's what I really love about Revenge of the Sith. And again, the epic duels that no Star Wars project has realistically, after Revenge of the Sith, has realistically done as well as Revenge of the Sith. So there's that. Then we have Attack of the Clones. Attack of the Clones, to me, is good, but it's very slow pacing. Now, the reason why I put it at second is because, again, it has the emotional weight of basically like a cinder block. It's a slow burn. It's a slower paced, episodical type of movie. But once you get past like Camino and get to Geonosis and all that, that's when it really rears its head. And we got to see Yoda for the first time fighting. We got to see Count Dooku with the legendary Christopher Lee, which is perfect casting out of anything. We got to see the arena battle. Like, don't get me wrong, Attack of the Clones is literally, it has its faults, but not towards the end. The ending is what saves it from being a complete failure. Phantom Menace, I had to put it here because of the simple fact, and here's my thing, it's not Jar Jar Binks. I hate how people treated the actor for Jar Jar Binks. I don't appreciate when people treat actors bad for a role that just wasn't maybe fit for them or whatever the case may be, but that's a whole different conversation we'll have later on down the line. But Phantom Menace was just a weaker entry to me because, again, rewatching it, like, the hype for it in 99, I get it. Like, it was the start of basically the Anakin Skywalker journey, and there's that. But Phantom Menace also has, like, a weaker type of thing, but it did give us Liam Neeson's Qui-Gon Jinn. We love Qui-Gon Jinn. He's probably one of the best Jedi of all time, and Qui-Gon Jinn really portrayed that Jedi very well, and that's why his portrayal of him still goes on to this day. We got to see a very young Jake Lloyd as Anakin Skywalker. I feel really bad for what happened to him as well, but again, some certain things was written well and certain things was written wrong within the Phantom Menace. Now, what saves the Phantom Menace is the last fight, the last duel, Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn. One of the best duels of the Star Wars trilogies and one of the best duels in Star Wars history. So that's kind of what saves that from there, but yeah, it's Phantom Menace. It's where it's supposed to be. The sequel trilogy. Now, I have to admit, I am not a big fan of the Disney sequel trilogy movies. Now, when I say this, the number one movie for me on here is Force Awakens. The Force Awakens is actually a very good movie, and it really like set up a really good way of handling how we're going to handle the future, right? Like future projects for Star Wars. And then it completely dropped the ball on itself because then it's just like that whole trilogy was just a mess after The Force Awakens. The second movie on here is like The Last Jedi. And the only thing that saves The Last Jedi from realistically being last is because of Rise of Skywalker. But we'll get to that in a second. The Last Jedi had its moments and everything, but dropped the ball realistically on Luke Skywalker and who he is as a character. I don't think a lot of people understand, like, I get it, we're not in the writing room, whatever the case may be, and Disney wanted to write their own story, the director, whatever the case may be, but if we're going based off of Luke Skywalker at the end of Return of the Jedi to what he was at The Last Jedi, you're not going to tell me that's the same Luke Skywalker, because the simple fact of the matter is that this is the man who stood against Darth Vader, one of the, like, darkest, craziest villains in Star Wars history and redeem him from the dark side. So you're telling me that the first instinct he has is to try to kill his nephew Ben Solo in The Last Jedi? Yeah, no, that's just not, that doesn't fly with me on that part. But again, it has its moments, really good battles, whatever. But it was rarely back and forth. It was, and then don't get me wrong, like nothing against the actress at all, but the actress that was with Finn for the entire movie, and they're trying to do like a subplot of like romance right there, whatever, which wasn't executed at all very well. And then Rise of Skywalker takes Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and throws away everything. And that's why it's dead last on this list. It's dead last on this list is because of the simple fact of the matter is that it was poorly written. It felt rushed. The lightsaber battle was horribly choreographed. Everything about Rise of the Skywalker movie, unfortunately, was horrible. And the fact of the matter is that I still have a genuine question on how a ancient Sith artifact is able to point out where the Death Star from Endor is when it's supposed to be like on Endor. Again, it's a whole slew of problems that I have with Rise of Skywalker. A lot of people will tell you that Rise of Skywalker is easily like you can figure out Rise of Skywalker very easily if you read like the books and all that stuff like that. But the problem with that statement is that you didn't have to read the books to go in and watch the other 6 movies to figure out what's going on for the next movie. And for the lore to basically be like, oh yeah, you have to go read all this material to get the lore for why the Rise of Skywalker was written the way it was, blah, blah, blah. I feel like that's a cop-out. I feel like if you're not writing a movie that is going to be, that can flow for casual fans and dedicated fans, then you're not writing good. And that's what the Rise of Skywalker unfortunately is. It's not written good. It's not that, again, nothing against the actors and actresses of these movies, but the sequel trilogy is honestly the weakest trilogy out of the prequel and the original series. Now, we go into our next segment here. We're actually going to rank all the movies, including the standalone movies, of course, with this. Now, I have not personally seen Mandalorian Grogu yet, so I can't really put my 2 cents of where they're going to be on this list is yet, because I haven't seen it. So I'm not going to rank something I haven't seen, but everything else I've seen, and this is what I came up with. So before Grogu and Mandalorian movie, whatever, there was 12 projects, 12, Star Wars projects. So here is how I rank the 12. At number 12, Rise of Skywalker. The worst movie of the franchise. I don't want to really, I already gave you the reason, but it's one of the worst movies in the franchise. At number 11, Solo. A Han Solo backstory, great actors, but terrible, terrible writing. And again, I'm very big on writing. Like, if you're going to be writing a Star Wars film, please put some depth into it. Put your foot and soul into it. Don't just give me some crap that you just said, this is what I came up with, and here you go. And yeah, that's why I don't, yeah. The Last Jedi, again, my grievances with it. Basically, Luke Skywalker's character, not Mark Hamill, because Mark Hamill plays the hell out of Luke Skywalker, but the way he was written, again, it goes back to writing. I don't like how they wrote Luke Skywalker. That's one of my biggest grievances with The Last Jedi. Number 9, Phantom Menace. Again, weaker entry to basically the Star Wars universe, but nothing bad. The Darth Maul versus Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan duel realistically saves it from being like a bottom tier movie. Number 8, Force Awakens. Again, hopeful, love the movie. The movie was good, but the other 2 movies kind of brings it down a notch and it can't compare to the other movies. At number 7, we have the Clone Wars. Now, when Star Wars Clone Wars came out in 2008, there was a theatrical release movie that introduced us to Ahsoka Tano. They had to go on the hunt for Jabba the Hutt's son. It was a whole movie thing, and it was really enjoyable. I still watch it every now and then, and I like it. I think it compares up, and it's better than, everything I just said. At number 6, we have Return of the Jedi. I mean, hey, Return of the Jedi is definitely like it could probably fluctuate between 5 and 6, but I like where it is right now for it. At number 5, we have Attack of the Clones. Listen, if I'm going to be real, what makes it a top 10, what makes it a top 5 movie for me is the fact of the matter is that when you go watch it, yes, slow pacing, but then you get to Geonosis and everything just kind of like flips on the head and it turns into a whole realistic war movie type of SK. And again, I love that stuff, so that's where I'm going to put it there. And number 4, New Hope. Come on, it's a New Hope. It's definitely generationally a one of the greatest movies of all time. And again, next year you're going to see 50 years of Star Wars is going to come to the head right here. So there's that. At number 3, Rogue One. Rogue One does not get the flowers it deserves. Like, I love when they did Andor. Like, I love Andor and I love Rogue One. Rogue One is a top tier Star Wars movie. Like, no one talks about that enough for me. And I feel like Rogue One needs to be talked about, and I'm going to talk about it sometimes. And because it needs its respect, it needs its flowers. Like, we need to throw that. At number 2, we have Empire Strikes Back. Empire Strikes Back, again, one of the best movies of all time, one of the best Star Wars movies of all time. Darth Vader, goated, whatever the case. But number 1 is Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith is the best Star Wars movie to date, and I will debate anyone on that note. Like, I will debate anybody about this type of Star Wars movie here because, like, I believe that there's not a lot of Star Wars movies that can really stack up against what Revenge of the Sith brought to theaters. Rebrought. We just had the 20-year anniversary, I believe, like last year. So I went to that with my buddy Omar. We enjoyed it. Like, that was a good movie. Like, it's goated. The music, oh my gosh, John Williams is one of the greatest composers of our time. Generationally talented. Like, chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. All right, so with that being said, we're going to jump into one of our last segments for this episode. We're going to be talking about the Jedi of the week. So every week, we're going to be talking about a Jedi or Sith, and we're just going to give them like a little flowers of who they are and what they do and, where they come from on here type of thing. So if you guys have any Jedi or Sith, whether it's canon or legends that you want me to present in an episode, you got to comment. And you gotta, comment below, whatever the case may be. So, you gotta let me know what you guys like, what you guys want to hear, all that. So, we're gonna be talking about a Jedi by the name of Kyle Katarn. Now, for those of you who's purely canon and never heard of Kyle Katarn is one of the best known Jedis of the expanded universe. He was a Jedi Knight who served in the New Jedi Order with Luke Skywalker. He was an instructor. He had, I believe, I'm actually going to look it up just in case, because I don't want to give you guys any false information. You know what I mean. So Kyle Katarn was a Force sensitive. He was from the planet Solon. He was later a Jedi of the New Jedi Order. He used to be a former Imperial officer, but he defected to the rebellion. Dope. He was also paired with his fellow rebel agent and smuggler Jan Ors, and I believe they got engaged or married, whatever the case may be. They're a couple in the expanded universe. So he was a self-taught Jedi who freed the souls of Jedi trapped in the Valley of the Jedi, which the Valley of the Jedi is basically where a lot of Jedi died in the Battle of Rusin in 1000 before the Battle of Yavin. So there's that. He also investigated Druman Kos, which is the planet, a dark side planet, where original Sith Empire and everything, and he fell to the dark side, but due to Mara Jade, his Padawan, he was able to reverse it and become light again, redeem himself type of thing. He's one of the greatest Jedi of Luke Skywalker's era in the expanding universe. You're gonna hear a lot about him, especially like if you're a deep dive into the expanding universe of the New Jedi Order, whatever the case may be. Kyle Katarn is a really great Jedi that a lot of people like. If people had to strive to be a Jedi, like if I had to strive to be any type of Jedi and I couldn't be the one I wanted, I would be Kyle Katarn, because Kyle Katarn is that guy. Like Kyle Katarn is definitely a. I would probably put him top 10 Jedi of all time. Maybe I would have to really like deep dive into my Jedi again, but uh, yeah, Kyle Katarn is going to be our Jedi of the week. And if you guys want more information on who Kyle Katarn is and everything, go to Wikipedia, look up Kyle Katarn, read, and then go read all the Expanded Universe books with him in it. That's my best advice to you guys. So, we have had a lovely chat. It's good to be back. It's good to be talking about Star Wars. This is Holocron Radio. We are going to be live and going every single Friday. We drop an episode every Friday that is probably going to be in the morning time. I haven't really figured it out yet. Probably morning time. And then that way you can go about your day, whatever the case may be. I'm going to be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I'm going to be on YouTube. Wherever you can get your podcast at, I will be there. So that way you can enjoy Holocron Radio wherever. Do not forget to like, to follow, subscribe, show some love. Anyways, before I go, I want to give you guys a little sneak preview of next week's episode. Next week, we are going to be talking about the top 10 Sith Lords between Legends and Canon. I wonder who is going to make that list. There is thousands of Sith Lords. And we're not talking about Inquisitors, Dark Jedi. We're talking about full-fledged Sith Lords. Darths. That's what we're talking about here. So, if you guys enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, follow. Thank you guys for everything. Thank you guys for waiting for me so patiently to come back. I'm glad to be back. Can't wait to see you guys next week.